Welcome to the eCommerce Profits Podcast, where we feature top founders and experts in the e-commerce industry and take an in-depth look at the struggles and successes in growing e-commerce brands profitably.
Hey guys, Josh Chin here. I'm the host of the eCommerce Profits Podcast, where we feature top experts in the e-commerce industry and we go behind the scenes of the struggles and successes in growing a brand. I have Dr. Jeremy Wise here of Rise25, who has done thousands of interviews with successful entrepreneurs and leaders in e-commerce. And we have flipped the script and he will be interviewing me.
Josh, I appreciate it. And today's topic, which is always a good one, how do you make tons of sales for your e-commerce store, right? And you have an actual methodology, a 6-step process you're going to walk through. But before we get into that, and in some real world examples and even real world emails, which I'm surprised you're even willing to share. Actually, no, I'm just kidding. But this episode is brought to you, so stay tuned for those. This episode is brought to you by Chronos Agency. So if you're a direct-to-consumer e-commerce brand that's ready for next-level growth, not everyone is, but if you do want to grow and he helps people unlock the optimum customer lifetime value through email marketing. Chronos is your company. They've helped hundreds of brands get over $70 million in return from email alone, and their clients get an average of 3,500% ROI from their efforts. I thought he added a zero, but no, that is correct. It's 3,500%. And they've worked with Truly Beauty, Alya Skin, and many more. And for some reason, Josh, I don't know, maybe you could explain it, why beauty brands and apparel brands are attracted to you and your company. It could be because you get great results. So the next step, if you have questions, to email their team, sales@chronos.agency, or you can go to chronos.agency to learn more. Josh, so we're going to talk about the 6-step strategy for more sales, but we were just talking before we hit record about Rossi Nails. Talk a little bit about what Rossi Nails does and what did you do for them?
Absolutely. So Rossi Nails, they sell nail polishes, gel polishes, and pretty much nail accessories. It's a super high SKU type of a product where you have different varieties of nail polishes and different variants of and different colors and stuff. So it's a super interesting brand. And it comes in a time, especially in the pandemic, where people are kind of just cooped up at home. They don't have, typical access to go to, to get their manicure and pedicure. That's when they blew up. And we actually started working together since late 2017 and early 2018. That was when we first started working together. So we have been partnering for a long time now as a client agency type of relationship. We actually started out as a 7-figure brand, and today they've grown much more significantly since then. They're an 8-figure brand today, and email plays a big part in that process because email generates a ton of back-end profits for the brand that allows them to acquire customers at pretty much break even or even at slight loss, because they know that we're able to generate that long-term value that basically creates a massive value in the back end for the customers that they have paid money to acquire for. And it's been an interesting journey, and especially this year in Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And we spoke a little bit about this.
Strategies. Yeah. I mean, here's the big thing, Josh, a brand, if you could spend more money acquiring a customer, you win, right? And if you have a back-end system that's going to nurture the people, you put them in the sequence. If there's no sequence or no way to build that relationship and nurture them, then people just fall through the cracks. But if you have this whole system that's going to continuously build their relationship and nurture, they can feel comfortable spending more money because they know on the other end, people are going to start buying stuff, right?
Exactly.
So dig into your 6-step holiday email strategy. And this holiday, there's holidays every month, right? I mean, holiday doesn't have to mean Christmas or New Year's. It can mean Mother's Day, Father's Day.
Absolutely,
it could be Valentine's Day. I mean, there's if you look at the calendar, there's so many holidays I didn't even realize were out there, Josh. Like, oh, do you want to do National Secretary's Day? I mean, there's a million out there. Look at the calendar. You could probably implement this whatever month it is. So anyways, I'll let you take it from here.
And Jeremy, the thing is, this works just as well if you're launching a new product and you're trying to build anticipation and hype around that launch. This framework works extremely well. And we've done this countless of times for product launches and sales events. And it's just a timeless principle. Now, Jeremy, I think you know this as well. When you build such a list over time at such a large scale, it often gets overwhelming as to what can you do to maximize revenue from your audience that you've already paid money for when key events like Black Friday and Cyber Monday come. So what we've done is we've created a framework around generating attention, maintaining that attention, and then allowing that attention to turn into revenue using a very simple 6-step process. We start things off by building hype and then building a list of self opt-in and VIP customers and subscribers. And then we launch our sale or product launch first to those people who have self opted in. And then the main launch goes to the rest of the list. And then we go through a process of putting out user generated content, testimonials, and social reminders. And then we close the sale. So that's kind of the 6-step process. We do have a couple of examples here to kind of illustrate my point, but the initial part of the sequence is really just building and generating attention as much as possible. So we have emails that have CTA buttons that says add to wish list, and it really just creates anticipation. It helps you build a list of people who have kind of raised their hands and say, hey, yeah, add me to make sure that I'm informed. And it just creates a good opportunity to build a priority list, and it primes the list for a launch. And we also use a slightly different approach to the CTA, wherein it says add to calendar. So there is no call to sale in these emails. It's literally just add to calendar. It links people to a calendar invite that they just click on save, and it's automatically saved in their calendar. What this does is it brings that attention away from their inbox to where they live on the most, their calendars, if they're working adult.
I don't know if I've seen anyone do that before.
It works incredibly well. It's super simple. The most tedious part of this process is just creating that calendar invite and linking that up to the CTA. So people might be wondering, how do you do this with the different domains at gmail.com, at yahoo.com? All you got to do is look at your list and how many of your key domains are on Gmail, Yahoo, and Hotmail, have different segments and create different links for those different segments, and just use the exact same email. The only thing that changes would be the link basically for the CTA button. So that creates a ton of hype, a ton of attention. And when the day comes, the notification will not be in their inbox. It will be on their mobile phone, on their desktop as a push, and it's incredible because you literally move away from the noise and you're literally living as part of what people would experience on a daily basis through the calendar.
I love it.
Following that, so that's what it could look like as well. This is a little bit tricky to create. I would recommend creating individual links for the CTA button.
Yeah.
Then we build a priority list.
Before we get to that, so we'll hit on the priority list, but for the hype for a second, I just want to point something out. What's kind of cool about that, it's less commitment. If you're asking someone for a sale, there's a lot more steps involved. They have to go and make a decision, look around, put in their credit card. So less commitment of like, hey, add in my wish list, right? How much commitment is that? It's a one click. Add in the calendar, one click, right? So I love that it's just less commitment for people. So you're going to get more opt-ins. So anyways.
Super small micro commitments. That's the key to kind of generating that attention, and it builds up, right? So those are not single emails. Those are just examples of what the hype building phase could look like. So we do multiple emails for that phase as well. And then we start building a priority list. We incentivize people to opt in. We also segment the list based on customer behaviors, previous basically revenue that's generated with those customers, how engaged they are with your brand through your emails and through your website, how often have they visited, how long have they lingered on your site. These are kind of, and it differs from brand to brand, but identifying who your top 5 to 10% are in terms of customers and subscribers, that allows you to kind of build a list of highly excited people. So this is an example of what that could look like. People have made 3x of our AOV, which is assuming it's 50 bucks, the AOV would be basically 50 bucks. And we kind of times 3 on that number to give us a kind of a threshold of what a VIP would be defined as.
So
and
like
obviously
an average
this is
order
going to be slightly
volume,
different.
let's say average order volume is $50. We want clients who spent $150 or more or something like that. And those are
Exactly.
kind of the VIP customers.
Precisely. Yep. Exactly that. And then following that, we essentially launch the event exclusively to that group of people first, without kind of, so it's actually a real scarcity type of thing, especially when the product is limited, when we know that stocks are gonna like actually run out, and not as a false
It's not
urgency.
like a false scarcity thing.
Yeah, exactly. So that works really, really well because you get people who are really, really excited, and they're going to take action as soon as you send out an email. So that's what we do. And often you'll see most of the sale coming in at this stage. And that's totally normal. And that's not always the case for every brand. But for brands with a very strong customer base of loyal customers, that's what we would typically see. And then we launch the main email goes out to the entire list plus the priority list of VIPs. So what this does is it creates a sense of exclusivity for those in the VIP list. And if you have kind of offered a different offer or a higher offer for the VIPs, they will feel a little bit more incentivized to make that purchase because they see that there is a difference between what other people are getting and what they are getting as VIPs. And it kind of further pushes that list of people to take that action. Following that, I'm just going to jump a few slides in here, but we really look into kind of the additional reminders. So this is where most brands would fall short, is they kind of launch a single email that looks like this, like Black Friday starts now, and that's it. They forget about the reminders. And in most cases, that's where a lot of the money comes in. So what we've seen is with the reminders, it doesn't have to be too complicated. This is an example of what we might do. We would take screenshots, and obviously this is slightly modified, but screenshots of basically user-generated content of people using the product, people reviewing the product. And that looks a little bit more organic and raw, and it conveys that sense of authenticity and trust that may just fill in a couple of gaps and overcome some objections that people could have in making that purchase. So we basically use content like this as reminders for the sale that is happening. And then we would close the sale. And this is, just a simple reminder of what's when that actual deadline is. And this has to be real, right? I know some brands do an extension. If there is an actual demand for the sale, if they're actually getting a ton of kind of emails in at the last day. I know this happens a lot with a lot of brands. I just missed the mark. I really wanted to make the purchase, but I didn't have my cart ready. I wasn't at home, yada yada. So what we do for brands like that is we have a surprise sales extension for those that have either requested for it, or people who have bought from you frequently and you know that they are VIPs, but they have not made a purchase in that sales period, and just making sure that you're covering all gaps and making sure that you're just creating as many opportunities as possible to allow that conversion to happen. Following this is a simple thank you email. Just a thank you email. Nothing to sell. Just fully text-based, saying thank you so much for being part of this year's event. It was a super successful. We're super happy. A big thank you from us, and we're grateful for your support. And we'll see you next year. And that's pretty much what it says. And this ties in very nicely into what's happening following this event, which would be, in our case, Christmas. So there is no gap in between the relationship, because it could be a little bit weird to go from, hey, buy from us, and then silence, and then buy from us again. So this adds a kind of a nice segue into what's next. It adds a personal touch to the relationship as well. And we find that this works extremely well. And that's the end of the entire process.
Yeah. So thanks for sharing the 6-step framework, getting more sales, especially during an event or holiday. One thing I want to point out, Josh, is obviously I want to point people towards other episodes of the podcast. You can go to Chronos.agency to check out more and email them. But one thing I love about this is this 80-20 approach or 90-10 approach of all emails and all customers are not created equal. And that's a huge takeaway for me. I think everyone can right now, whoever is listening, whatever type of company or business you have, look at your top clients and or customers and, actually give some love to them. Give them some, what did you say as far as kind of exclusivity,
Exactly. Yeah. It's key. I mean, yeah, exactly. 80-20 rule. 20% of your customers are going to be generating 80% of your email revenue. That's always the case that we see. And as long as your automations are covering for everyone, what you should be doing with campaigns, as far as what we have realized, is focus on your top customers, because they're the ones that are going to be making you the most money, the most revenue, and they're going to be the happiest as well buying from you. So this framework creates a really simple kind of process to tackle that exact segment of people.
If you're listening to this, there is a video component, so check it out and check out more episodes in Chronos.agency. Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thanks for listening to the E-commerce Profits Podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get notified of future episodes.